the Pandora's box that keeps on giving, because there's no way you can put the genie back in the bottle on child pornography when it gets out. Those children are victimized the rest of their life. How about that? Or did you even think about that?
I think at the time.
How can you be so selfish? But you're not sorry. You got a problem.
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
So 5 cases are called. Each of these were indictments for illegal possession of child pornography. The defendant was sentenced to 8 years in prison on each of those cases, correct?
Yes, sir.
On November 30th of last year. It has been less than 6 months or 180 days since the assessment of the sentence. The defense has filed motions to impose community supervision, stating the defendant has never previously been incarcerated and is otherwise eligible for probation. And so we are here to do that. And in each of these cases, it's alleged the same, it was wrapped up in the same event, correct?
Yes, sir.
There were numerous victims portrayed in the images, I presume.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Schlander, and Mr. You were Christopher Wayne Manuel, correct here? You've heard what the court has said, and your attorney is present and the state's attorney. Go ahead.
Your name's Christopher Wayne, is that correct?
Yes.
Why don't you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm your other right? So lower your hand. Go ahead.
You're Christopher Wayne, is that correct?
Yes.
And we filed this motion to impose community supervision or shock probation. You're aware of that, right?
Yes.
And all these allegations that we alleged in the motion are true and correct, is that right?
Yes.
You've never before been convicted of a felony.
No.
You've been in prison now for less than 180 days.
Yes.
Otherwise, as far as you understand the law and everything, you're eligible for community supervision.
Yes.
And you haven't had any problems in prison of any consequence since you've been there, have you?
No.
Are you asking the court to grant you shock probation, representing to the courts that you can follow all the terms of probation, and otherwise, at the end of that, become a useful and successful law-abiding citizen?
Yes, I am. That's been called for that today.
Are you going to live with your folks? Is that right?
Yes.
They're out there in the audience, here in support of you.
Yes, they am.
Going to help you make sure everything goes smooth. Is that right?
Yes.
You're a single man. Is that right?
Yes.
How long have you living with your parents?
One of the hurricanes displaced me back in 2005.
Since 2005?
Yes. I was living in an apartment, and then when the hurricanes did damage to my apartment, I had to move back to my family, back to my parents. And
Okay, I'm going to highlight something on this. Okay. All right. No, go ahead. Anything else you want to add? I know it's in the motion. The state's
Yes.
received a motion.
That's all I have.
A copy of the motion. All right. Well, what's state say?
The state would defer to the court's wisdom on this, Your Honor. The only thing I would note was the 575 files of child pornography that he had, and that it was on every single device that he owned, along with the fact that he admitted to using that child pornography to achieve sexual gratification daily, is of concern to me. If we were to do the shock probation, I would highly suggest that we follow the treatment plan set out by probation of the therapy that they suggest.
And while on probation, if I did this, I understand you would be living with your parents,
yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
and you've been living with them though since 2005. What do you want to say?
Again, I'm deeply sorry for this crime. I'm sorry for the victims. I have learned my lesson being in the system for the past 5 months. This is very serious, and if you grant me probation, I will do my best to
Do your best is not what is required of you.
that.
It's to follow the rules.
Yeah, follow the rules, and
And
never
that's
do-
generally doing the best, but everybody says they're going to do the best.
and I will.
How is living with your parents helping you be responsible and independent? Curious.
You know,
Because you were doing this right under their noses, apparently. They didn't know, I guess. And you were pulling this off in their house.
yes,
Mhm.
I will be responsible now.
Sir,
I will be responsible now.
something else here in the pre-sentence report. It says you've been using marijuana since 16 years of age.
Yes, sure.
It says daily.
But I will,
Now, how is it you could be living with your parents since 2005 and them not know about marijuana, daily marijuana use? Because it reeks. How can they be trusted to be somebody that would be helping you complete probation if all of this is true? I mean, right, you're pulling stuff right under their nose, but everybody knows what marijuana smells like. And is that right? Do they condone, are they marijuana users or anything? How can you pull that off for years and years without them knowing marijuana is being used daily? Can you explain that to me? I'm a smart guy. I just don't understand this. So you've been fooling them? You've been-
sorry.
You've been fooling them with the pornography and with the marijuana use right under their nose?
Yes, I have, and I'm deeply sorry for
No.
doing that.
You're not going to qualify as the good son,
My best to make it up to him.
sir.
I will try my best. I will do my best to make it up to him.
Mhm. Let me ask you about the victims here, 500 and some odd. How do you undo the harm to them? When a child pornography, which is made, when it is then used, it re-victimizes the child. Every time it is seen, it re-victimizes that child.
Yes,
That's why it's so disturbing, and it's the Pandora's box that keeps on giving, because there's no way you can put the genie back in the bottle on child pornography when it gets out. Those children are victimized the rest of their life. How about that? Or did you even think about that?
I didn't think at the time.
How can you be so selfish? How can you harm children like that? I know it happens. It happens in
It's my
people like you come in this courtroom, but it defies my imagination of thought that somebody could be horrific like that.
That's why I'm deeply sorry right now.
You deeply sorry?
Yes, yes.
Why weren't you deeply sorry when you were doing this over and over and over again? You enjoy being deeply sorry? Because you, according to you, you put yourself through all kinds of hell, but you're not sorry. I don't believe that.
Same, yes.
Probation office even knows that. They say you need help because you got a problem. And it is, it's a moral issue, but you enjoy child pornography, which is pretty sick. It's not proper behavior. It's antisocial personality disorder of sorts, because it injures children.
Yes,
And you apparently enjoy doing that.
changed.
Say that again?
So I've changed. I will never do that again.
What changed it? You got caught and got punished
I'm really hoping that it was Bubba and his boyfriends.
because you've been having, well, a lot of time. You've been committing crimes since you were 16 years of age. You were using marijuana daily. I mean, you're a prolific criminal. How old are you now?
43.
How many years? Quarter of a century? Over a quarter of a century? You've been committing crimes daily? And now that you've gotten in jail, you're always well. I don't believe that, but what we're going to do is unless you get some assistance, you're going to further be a harm to children the moment you get out of service. We all know that. That's what the two-edged sword about all this is this is why this motion is going to get granted and you're going to get the relief your attorney is asking for. Because if you don't, you'll be released, you'll be on parole, but really there won't be much anybody can do about your antisocial behavior and harm to children and marijuana use. You're going to need help with all of that. So what the court is going to do is grant these motions to impose probation after you have completed 180 days in custody, which is still a little ways to go. You're going to do this much time as you can get on a probation. Then you will be placed on probation in each of these cases for 10 years. And you will be ordered, among other terms and conditions of probation, to receive assistance as suggested and recommended. You will enter and complete an approved sex offender treatment program provided by a licensed sex offender treatment provider. You shall not possess any printed, photographed, computer-generated images, recordings, sexually simulating or sexually oriented material involving pornography. Also, a substance abuse assessment will be made and for evaluation, and it will be determined what type of assistance you may need for your over quarter of a year daily use of marijuana, which certainly became addictive over that period of time, which was done while you were at home with your parents. Had to have known that was happening, because we all know what marijuana smells like. Or maybe they didn't. Maybe you pulled the wool over their eyes for a quarter of a century. Fact of the matter is, you're grown up, and you are in your 40s, and you're not supposed to be living with your parents anyway. You're supposed to be independent. And you haven't, while you've lived with your parents, done anything but commit, that I know about, that's good, except commit crimes. One of the worst crimes is harm to children by sexually offending. So living with your parents aren't really helping you do much good. But nonetheless, you're going to be placed on probation, and there will be those terms and conditions of probation along with other terms and conditions, knowing that you're on thin ice anyway with this. You'll be back and you can serve out the rest of your 8 years if you fail. Do you understand where we are in these 5 cases?
Yes, sir.
I mean, this is, you've made a mess in every direction. And I don't know what your parents are here, but I don't know really what the facts are. I can just use common sense. Maybe you pulled wool over them and misused them, which would really be a sin against nature, as well as the sin of nature in victimizing children. Shame on you. And hopefully this will help. These terms will help you not harm other children. But at the end of the day, it's your free will, which has failed for a long time to do the right thing. Do you understand what has happened today?
Yes, sir.
All right, those are the orders of the court. Thank you.
I do indeed enjoy Judge Stevens slamming pervs. I think he put a bit too much emphasis upon smoking of the pot, as these 2 crimes are like chalk and cheese. And the second thing I would say is that after watching what he did here, it doesn't make any sense compared to what he did in the case that is on the screen now. Chalk and cheese. Take a look and see what I mean on how polar opposite he is in comparison.